We will wait for 5 more minutes and then we will start. Good afternoon and welcome to everyone present here. I hope I am audible. After having a great response from the students' fraternity, the Electrical Engineering Society is back with yet another thrilling guidance session. I am Vinayak, the president of EES, and on behalf of EES and ITJSR, I welcome our chief guest, who is also an esteemed alumni, Mr. Suyash Shrivastava sir. He is one of the 2K19 batch passouts from Triple E branch and is currently an SDE2 at Microsoft. He grabbed the internship at the same during his pre-final years and later got the pre-placement offer. It wouldn't be an exaggeration if I say that he has been the source of inspiration to many students of subsequent batches who started coding. So, Sir is here to guide you how to and what to prepare to get an internship or a placement in a big corporate, the do's and don'ts while preparation, how to manage coding, academic, and college life simultaneously, and finally, his journey and experience as a software engineer at Microsoft. So, having said so, handing over to you, sir.
Okay, thanks, Vinayak. And just a quick mic check. Am I audible?
Yes, sir, you are.
Okay, awesome. Let me actually switch on this camera so folks can see me. Hello, guys. Very good afternoon to all of you. I think this probably would be a good morning call for some. Folks might still be in their bed, given it's winter and cold. Uh, So I'll just, although he has um, introduced me, but I'll just give a quick intro of my own. Uh, know my name, Suyash Shrivastava, and most of the third year folks. I mean, I think they are now final year students. They I've met most of them in person. Great to be during the pre-COVID times. As you all know, I'm a software engineer too at Microsoft and graduated from same college, NIT Jamshedpur in 2019 from Electrical Electronics branch. Um, and as of now in Microsoft, I am working on the same product on which we are having this call, which is Microsoft Teams. Uh, and So this is like a really great honor to be here and interacting with you all here. I hope I can be of some use to all. So I'll just try to keep the session very short and simple. Um, I'll hardly take like what 20 or 30 minutes, and then we can have a quick round of Q&A. Uh, and that's all on the agenda that I have. So let's get started. I actually have at a high level uh, two things to cover today. One is I want to share my learning journey that has been with me over the past years, and the second is I can help you with some stuff that you can use so to as to make a career in computer science as a software engineer in some product based companies. So let's get started. Uh, so uh, I believe people who have joined this session are mostly interested in computer science. Uh, how many of you have already some sort of experience with programming? Can you quickly raise your hand with that hand icon? That would like give me an estimate. Like you have written your first code. That is what I'm asking. Okay, numbers going on 18, 21. Come on, people. I think it's now in your curriculum. Okay, out of 60, at least 30. Seems a good number though. So, okay, yeah, you can put your hands down. Thanks. Uh, so you guys are actually, I would say, very fortunate that now Actually, when I keep me honest on this, I think it's now included in your curriculum, right? The first year is the syllabus is same for all.
Yes, sir, it is same for all.
So it doesn't used to be when I was, I mean, during my first year back in 2015. Uh, in our curriculum, in our all 4 years, we didn't used to have this subject. Even the I'm talking about the elementary programming in C. Forget about the other stuff. So you guys are actually lucky that you can actually get that exposure right in your first year. But folks in my batch weren't that lucky, I would say. Uh, anyway, I'll actually give a bit background about myself. Uh, so programming wasn't new to me when I joined NIT Jamshedpur. My first code that I wrote was, probably when I was in eighth grade, and that was in I think way back in 2009. So it's almost 12 years now that I've been constantly in touch with programming. And I was actually, I'd say, lucky that I was in an ICSE school, so the syllabus kind of covered the elementary programming along with very elementary data structures like arrays and I can say stack queue. These were the small stuff that we actually got to learn by the time we, took our 12th board exams. And so we had that in our syllabus. So naturally, I had like some idea of how things were, and uh, you know, I actually knew those concepts before, but thinking about uh, why we have them or what exactly is the use case and why it's so important. That's something that I didn't know up until then. So back in 2014, that's when I took my board exams. So not good results. I mean, at least from the engineering exams point of view. So I took a year drop, and then next year I landed up in NIT Jamshedpur. So it was my first year, and so the first semester just went by, mixing with new people, new place, new teachers, new friends. Everything was new, and I would say, I would say, first year has, a charm of its own. Um, you don't have much stuff to do, and most of the people they are like chilling at their hostels, mostly doing stuff like they're not attending classes and don't even require to do so. You don't have any pressure, no marks, nothing, and probably the chillest year. Uh, that's I think comparing that first year, I would say if you are lucky and you get placed within a couple of 3 months in your fourth year, then probably then you can recall, yes, that's the time that is comparable to that of your first year. Uh, but probably not in the middle. So with that, actually, I got electrical, and we were working here, uh, giving exams and all the stuff. Then probably, there was this inter-semester break right after first semester. Actually, at the same time frame that we are having this call now, in probably in sometime in December 2015. I got a friend at my home. He was an old school friend, and at that time he was in his second year at MNIT Allahabad. So we were just discussing our own stuff, and then just out of the blue, he asked me, "Dude, what are your plans?" I said, I said, "Yeah, कुछ समझ में तो नहीं आ रहा है क्या करें?" I bet like many of you have had that since in your first year, or some people have it till fourth year as well. We aren't sure what we have to do. And then I was like, you know, so my branch is electrical electronics. Electrical, I suck at it. I can't understand one single piece what is happening. Electronics seems pretty exciting, but I don't know if I can do something there or not. And it was actually my friend who actually, that day he asked me to, hey dude, why don't you go on one of these sites and try try solving a question. It was actually a I don't know if you know, it's at that time it was Spotch, Sphere Online Judge. Uh, he actually asked me, try out a question and see if that excites you. And to be honest, that was it. I would say a turning point in my life. That green tick that I got, and for folks who are not aware, green tick means that your code got accepted, running all the test cases. And that was something that changed my mind. And I thought, yeah, this is something that I need to build my career on. Programming is what I had always loved. Uh, I should try to take a career out of it. And then I approached my seniors at that point. Most of them were from computer science, obviously. Um, and I would say I have, like, really great guidance from the seniors. Uh, and I got to make connections with people who even graduated before I joined college. They graduated in 2014, and I joined in 2015, and we are still connected. And at every point in college, they were there to guide me and, say, to this, you can try doing this. Uh, that actually helped quite a lot. And that's how, during my third year, then I landed up as a, intern in Microsoft. That was an actually on campus, I would say, at that time. I mean, so that was divided. The first round, which is your online coding round, was in campus, but then it was a pool campus recruitment drive. Uh, then I got the intern, and then when once I reached Microsoft, it was you know something even different. I would say a different world entirely. Folks were so smart, so intelligent at that place, and even now, it just I was like, man, where am I? And they're like my mentor and all. They told me, don't worry, we were all, once experiencing the same thing that you're experiencing today. And that in itself gave confidence. And then mostly internship, I would say, people were so good. And at Microsoft, we have such a great culture that people are super friendly. They are there to help you out. And along with, so the project actually went out quite well. The senior leadership team liked it. And luckily I got PPO, and then that's it. And then in 2019, when I graduated, I joined Microsoft, and I have ever since been with it. And to be honest, at present, I don't have any chance to switch. Um, so that was about my learning journey. Um, then people who, like, sometimes folks do text me, and I'm sorry, I'm not very active on any social media platform other than WhatsApp. So I'm extremely sorry if you ping me and I didn't reply. So they have like a common question of how, what all things do I need to prepare uh, to, get started as a career as a software engineer. So I'll just, so first of all, there are a lot of stuff to do. No doubt, it's a very vast and extensive stream branch that I would call. But if you are still in your, I would say, third year even, I'll say that you still have, a decent amount of time to prepare quite well, till uh, by the time the companies visit you in fourth year, you'll be in a much better position, even if you start now. But ideally, yes, I would say second year is really, you have everything at this point. You have everything in your, at the palm of your hand. you can create yourself, build yourself up. So I have this sort of uh, I try to combine all the things that you'd require, and I'll actually share it with you. So uh, and so there are some skills actually that you need to develop if you are to be a software engineer. Some of them are like, you need to be really, really, really good at debugging. It's like the most elementary skill. I mean, even a fresher coming in, or like, just with 6 months of experience at Microsoft, is expected to be, excellent at debugging products, its features, and that too in production. So debugging skills is like the first skill that you need to learn. Uh, then there are skills like, ability to work on code written by others. That is like you have like a shared repo. So if I recall uh, the team's code base that I use to build this platform that we use, that is of somewhere around 10 or 15 GB. That's the code base size I'm talking about that we work on. And you can get the estimate that even a normal text file is just in some kilobytes, and we are talking about GBs of repo. So we have millions of lines of code written. Uh, you're working with others, so you need to, try to, very easily you should be able to understand what it is and quickly write on top of it. Uh, then, another important skill is, at any day you can be asked to, hey, this is a different code base. We need some implementations here. Please perform this task. And then it's a new code again. So at this point, you are expected to, you know, uh, be really quick with the ramp up period of your new code base, new area. And I would say at my level, it is expected that in just some 2 or 3 days, I'm proficient in uh, an entirely new code. So that's some expectations that you have as a software engineer. For these skills, you know, when you if you work on competitive programming, you you easily get all these three skills that I'm talking about. So that's why competitive programming is super important. And by the way, can you again raise your hands, people? Do you know who? But I mean, what competitive programming is? I just want to check, or else I'll talk about it. 12 out of what, 80? Come on, guys. No, people, do you know competitive programming? Raise your hand. Hmm, still not a very promising number. Okay. Okay, fine. You can put your hands down. So it's like I'll just explain in a brief. Uh, for example, you have like maths problem. It's so almost all of them are maths problem, but you need to. It's like you need have. I mean, you have some inputs that you give, and your code should produce some output. Uh, and actually that's what code even is, and that's what competitive programming is. That you have there are very multiple sites where you can practice. So these are like events that happen periodically, I think sometimes weekly even. And definitely one or the other day there would be some or the other competitive event going on in one of the sites. There are some bunch of questions there. So they all expect you to write a code that accepts some input that they have and produce an output. And your output is actually matched with the expected output. And depending on how many cases you get right, you get points. Uh, uh, and when that's this period, when that occurs in a competition, it's like a competitive programming. So you need to practice writing code in that fashion. Make yourself efficient. Not just yourself, actually, your code should also be efficient in terms of both space and time. I mean, the memory that your code uses, or the time it takes, I mean, the time your code takes to produce that output. You should have that, uh, in a most optimized fashion. And that's what competitive programming is. And you need some, you know, you need to learn a lot of concepts in it. I mean, when you actually go do it, then you'll actually know there are a lot of topics to cover. But definitely, I'm not exaggerating, but still, if you start today, I can promise that in just 4 or 5 months, you can be really good at it. Uh, there's You all guys are from NIT, and you have that inbuilt. Each one of you can easily understand stuff, and at the very base ground level, it's just maths actually. Code is code is just making the machine understand what you are trying to do. It If you can do it on a piece of paper, believe me, converting that to code is super simple. It shouldn't take you more than like 2 or 3 weeks. Even if you don't have any programming experience, it will just take you that time to uh, whatever you have on a piece of paper to convert it to a code. Uh, and there are I'm not going to reference any uh, study material here because there are tons and tons of them available. I can definitely give you what I used. Uh, and talking about which, I can actually, for competitive programming, I would say there are some um, elementary concepts that you should learn. And if you want, I can say it out right now. You can raise up your hand if you want me to actually uh, tell you all those concepts. I mean, just name all of them that would be required for you to I mean, at least crack all the interviews. I'm not saying you go ahead and win ICPC and all those stuff. Okay, lots of hands are coming in. Yeah, okay. Uh, Elementary programming, the one that's in your semester, that is what is elementary programming. There is nothing fancy. That's the most basic stuff. And believe me, if you're good at maths, you are automatically, you have I would say a higher edge over the others who are weak. So and most of you are I know most of you are very good at maths. So you'll automatically be really good at programming as well. So the basic is what you will learn in your semester. On top of it, you need to cover both your elementary data structures and advanced data structures. I'll name a few, like definitely arrays, linked list, doubly linked list, stack, queue, dequeue, tree, heap, and some advanced data structures as well, like graph, disjoint sets, um, some great algorithm paradigms like dynamic programming and divide and conquer. These are some stuff that I'm talking about that will help you with your competitive coding. And there's actually if you ask me for some references, uh, there's only one book. I mean, of course, you have preferences for your learning. I mean, some people find it simple and useful using a book. For some, it's like a web document. For some, it's video tutorial. Uh, for tutorials, there are like, video tutorials and documents. There are tons of them available on the internet. You just need to Google it. Uh, if you ask me a book, there is only one that I would say, and that will take care of entire competitive programming. Um, that is Introduction to Algorithms. Uh, I think we call it the Bible, actually, because it contains almost everything. There's not a single thing that I think the book doesn't contain. Uh, and where actually, in my experience, that I got a question on it. So that book is a Bible, and it's Introduction to Algorithms. And I think, in short, it's called CLRS. And you can easily find PDFs of it available online. And that's the only one. And even I, to be honest, I couldn't finish it entirely. I was just at the halfway through when I got interned, and then I was like, okay, yeah, I'm done now. I'm not going to do competitive coding, because I kind of find it not, uh, to be honest, not very helpful in the longer run. And even today, I would say uh, competitive programming is really good with your, I mean, it will brush up your debugging skills definitely in a way that no other thing can do. But there is the other thing as well which you need to build your skill for, and that is software development. M- Most of the people, I'm not sure how the the current scenario is, but uh, during my time, uh, I think just five, and I'm talking about considering all the computer science students as well. There were hardly 5 to 10% people, and that's I'm talking about during the third year, which that there were only 5 to 10% people who had experience with software development, and the rest were still stuck with their C and C++ competitive programming code. And that's not how it will work, and it won't help you much. Uh, you need to build software and learn to build software. You can choose any platform that you want. I mean, you can choose web development, or you can choose mobile app development, or you can choose native desktop app development, but you should have some experience of software development. And for me, actually, software development is what excited me much more than the competitive programming, because that's when I could, uh, you know, build things. I really liked building things, and up till when I hadn't done any software development, it was like, okay, I'm writing something, it's getting executed, giving me some text output, but what's the point? So, so to get that point is for what you need to make web applications, mobile applications. That's when you will see things. And once you get the experience of building them, uh, you'll actually, uh, you, start getting ideas as to what are the stuffs that you can do. That's when you'll, understand the power that computers have, what you can do, what you can build that so many people can use. And that's a skill which is far more important. Uh, if you can build things, there's nothing like you are already on top if you can build things. Uh, and even there, I would say, uh, to give you an overview, the stuff is mainly divided into two parts, which is client side software development and server side software development. I mean, I'm talking about the most basic development. Even the most basic site would definitely contain these two. There are multiple blocks for which the products companies we work on. But at college level, I think if you can just master these two, the client side development and server side development, that's all that you need. You can try creating the most simple for the client side I'm talking about. You can try to, build the most basic UI. Uh, I mean, basic displays and basic forms, checkboxes, radio groups, text input, all those stuff using any framework of your choice, be it Angular, be it React. Uh, you might as well use plain vanilla JavaScript as well. Uh, if you can just build, and this I can, like, from my experience, it shouldn't take you more than a month to get a real good grasp on client side engineering. It's super easy. And with the frameworks in place, I mean, the React and Angular, it's a cakewalk for you, definitely. Then on the server side, you need there are two in server side as well. You need a database and a service layer. If you can learn, any one database, be it a relational or non-relational, any one database you need to learn. Uh, and for service, you can use any framework based on any language, be it Java, Python, C Sharp, Node. There are multiple available. Just go ahead with any of your choice. Uh, just don't use C++, or you'll scratch your heads. But in case you really like, uh, for some people, it's like C++ is their close to heart and soul. They are like so super, flexible with it. And when can you tell me, like, with the introduction of that new courses in the curriculum for first year, what's the recommended programming language from Institute?
Sir, the recommended programming language is C.
So still, most of them, they'll keep on sticking with C and C++. If you are one of those, probably desktop native app development is for you. They are written in C++, and that's the fastest way that it's core to the, connected to the core kernel of your system. So that's like a hello. Okay. Okay. Cool. So that's what I have in my mind regarding stuff that you can do in order to build your career as a software engineer. uh, and and I think I'll open the ground to the audience now. Uh, I've been speaking for too long. So, folks, if you have Q&A, feel free to, just unmute yourself and speak up. Yes, Venkatesh, you have your hand up. Venkatesh, you're on mute. So, Vinayak, are there faculty as well here or just the students?
Just a student, sir, no faculty.
Okay. Okay, I think Venkatesh has some issue. Aniket, you have your hand raised.
If anyone is not able to speak out, you can write your question in chat box as well.
I can't seem to find the chat here. So,
It's okay,
are
sir.
you
If
guys
any
using?
question,
It's
yes.
right between
Vin-
you, sir.
Vinayak, is this The enterprise version of Teams that you guys are using, or the live version?
Sir, I think we just have downloaded the app and that's what we're
I
using.
see, I see. So I'm not sure if the chat is available. I'm really not sure.
It's available to me, sir. So if any question will arise, I will speak out the question for you.
Okay, cool. And people feel free to, you know, just speak up. It's all right. It's just you here. And now I can see the chat. Okay, I think someone needs to read. What is the recommended language you prefer to learn first? Okay. Uh, from my, I think so. From as I said, programming was introduced to me quite early during my school days, and it was Java for me. So that's how I started, and then later on, I really hated C++ and C, to be honest. I think for competitive coding, you should, point number one, always use an object-oriented language. So C is out of the picture. You should never use C in competitive programming. It is like, for learning, if you're learning to code for the first time, it's all right. But within just few months, like 1 or 2, just switch to C++ immediately. Uh, and I don't have any preference for the other three, like Java, Python, or C sharp. C sharp, I don't think nobody uses it for competitive coding. It's just Java, Python, or C++. So the good platforms like HackerRank, HackerEarth, these I think take care of questions in such a way that Java and Python, if people are using it, they don't get the time limit exceeded warning. Uh, but the other sites which on which I used to practice, they were like quite biased, I would say. Uh, the same algorithm used to work in C++, but not in Java. Java, you would get a time limit exceeded. So to be on a safer side, for competitive coding, I'll say don't use Python. And definitely you shouldn't be learning Python as your first language. Your first language should always be either C or Java. And C++ is just, superset of C. So these are the only two languages, because these are really core, I mean, really connected to the kernel, and you'll actually understand what's happening behind the scenes. And that is actually very important, get some good grasp on concepts, especially when the data structures with pointers come into picture. Okay. More questions? Sir, what is the correct time and prerequisites to get into internship? Yeah, good question actually. I'll say if you have been, so first of all, actually forgot to tell this. Competitive coding, I told you it's good and it will help you, build up some of your skills, but not many. So you should understand when to, stop doing it on a very daily basis. And that point, I'll tell you, it's like in a live coding competition event, if you are able to solve easy and medium level questions, all of them, that's when you should consider that you are sound, you are reasonably good in competitive coding. You shouldn't chase the hard questions. Uh, uh, they are for people who, so the event, I don't think in any interview you are asked questions of that much complexity, the hard question or the advanced questions. So you shouldn't, if you are really curious, that's an another, that's the other thing. But if not, if your purpose is just to, grab the skills, uh, you should just stop at medium level questions and not necessarily waste your time, keep trying to understand how the hard questions are working or what's their core algorithm behind it. You're not required, because practically, I don't think we ever used any of that. At least not in the 2.5 years that I've been. I don't think any very hard algorithms that we use. So that's for uh, competitive programming. But software development is something that will help you, gain an edge over others, and that's when you see the bigger picture. The pieces get connected, and you have a product with you. So you should give as much time as possible to software development, and there is no end to it. I just talked about the two client side, server side. There are many more services that you can learn during your college time. With that, uh, correct time to get into internship, uh, I would say uh, uh, you can you shouldn't chase internships up till your fourth semester. I would say just I mean that's the time when you actually build up your skills, uh, and you shouldn't actually be focusing uh, on preparing specifically for interviews. That preparation is something somewhat different and kind of can deviate you from the bigger thing that you should actually be learning. So in my opinion, fifth semester is the best time to start checking the internships and actively applying. And and post that, actually, I mean, after fifth semester, you should rigorously search for it. And in you should so one of the things that I regret is I just did one internship and I didn't even try getting another. So you should, uh, the semester gap between your fifth semester and sixth semester, which is this period that we are currently into, if you can get one internship there, that's like super good. And doesn't matter how small the company is or it's a startup, just go ahead and do it. That will help you a lot. The core, industry level product uh, that you'll be building, the experience is something that you'll never get with your college projects. Okay, how to master DP? Uh, I don't know if you heard me. I was just halfway through that book CLRS, and I was just reading that chapter of dynamic programming when I got the intern in Microsoft. So I never actually mastered DP. Uh, but one thing I want to say, uh, when I first, learned dynamic programming, I mean, as in, uh, especially that, okay, now I need to learn dynamic programming. So let me find out what it is and how to proceed and what's involved in it. I was fascinated to find out that the technique that dynamic programming uses was actually something that I had been long applying into my problems. So that wasn't a new concept to me. Uh, then, sir, what are the things that we should do in first year in coding? In first year, I would say be a master of the elementary programming. Uh, your conditions, loops, functions, these are something that should be on your, you should be a really master of. And the elementary data structures, like arrays, linked list, stack, queue. These I think just these four are something that you should master during your first year.
Uh, Hello. Hi. Good afternoon, sir. Am I audible?
Good afternoon, Shubham. Yes, you
Yeah.
are.
Sir, I'm Shubham Kumar Jha. I'm currently in my fourth year. Fourth year. I got an on-campus offer from an startup of stocks, and I am thinking of joining that and starting my career with that company. But I just have a